Well, good morning, everybody. It's Sunday, the 30th of September, and this is a special one off on James's Week in Gaming where I'm going to be talking to you about FIFA 13, about some of the changes that we've got in the new version. I picked FIFA 13 up on Friday, and I've invested probably about 5 or 6 hours in it. So I think I'm in a decent position to talk to you about some of the things that they've changed, some of the things that are better, and there are a few things that are better, and some of the things that still are not quite where they need to be. So let's start off being positive by talking about what's better in the game. First of all, we now have a series of, and this has I think particularly been introduced for younger players, players who have never played the FIFA franchise before. We've now got what are called skill games. So you can go and find these on your main FIFA menu, or you can find them where you used to have the sort of like practice sessions in the arena before a game. You'll now get options to practice penalties, practice crossing, practice dribbling, practice passing, all this kind of good stuff. And I think this is a good idea. It's a great thing, if you're a returning player who hasn't played FIFA in a year or so, it's a great way of just going in, getting up on all the skills that you may have, forgotten about, things that you may have, you may not be as good at anymore. And if you're a new player, it teaches you all the basics that you're going to need to try and get the most out of the game. That's good. Moving on to the on the pitch, which is frankly where I'm most concerned. I'll say up front now that I'm not interested in Ultimate Team, I'm not interested in online play, I've got no interest in that whatsoever. If you want to do all that kind of stuff, good for you. But what I'm interested in, and what I always buy FIFA for, and I always traditionally did buy FIFA for, was for a game that I could come in after work, sit down, put my feet up, have a Coke, have something else like that, and and then I could just play a couple of games and just relax in an evening. That's what I want FIFA for. In fact, frankly, that's what I want any game for. But FIFA doesn't really do that. But going back to the positives first, so AI on the ball. The attacking AI in FIFA 13 is noticeably better than FIFA 12. FIFA 12, you get near an opponent's box, your players would basically stand around like lemmings. They wouldn't run, they wouldn't make any movements. It would be incredibly frustrating, and the opponent would very quickly get the ball off you, and then they'd be back up the other end, and it's all going wrong suddenly. In this game, they stay on side, they do curving runs, they're more likely to move. I mean, at the moment, I'm playing with Scunthorpe. I always start off playing with Scunthorpe or MK Dons, and then I play with the Championship side, and then I play with the Premiership side. Because I always think that in a game like this, if you start off playing with the best teams, you might have the best attacking going forward, but particularly if you play on world class, which I do, you're going to get shredded at the back by the better players, by the Messis of this world, etc. So it's always a better idea to start off in a lower league with slightly worse players, work your way up, and then you'll be in a position to get the best out of your Premiership team because you'll have discovered all the nuances of the game and you'll figure out the sort of hidden pattern of it and that kind of thing. So AI is better. However, the defending has not been improved at all. The tactical defending is as it was. I do notice, going back to what I was saying about the skill game, there is no skill game whatsoever for defending. There's a couple of tutorials, but that's about it, which I don't think is enough for the system that they've got in place, which is now very tactical. And the one thing I have noticed, however, is that in FIFA 13, FIFA 12, they're all about hold down L2 to adopt that pose. They don't mention that at all in any of these tutorial videos now. It's completely blanked out. You hold A to contain, and then you press B, and that's about it. So they've tried to refine it. I kind of still think it's broken. I actually think they've tried to almost do like a merge of the sort of the legacy and the tactical defending system, but they haven't really achieved either. Frankly, it would just be better if they'd gone back to the legacy system because everyone liked that. Everyone knew how it worked. It was fine, and you don't end up with the situation that you have now of giving away ridiculous tackle free kicks and the fact that basically when an opponent gets anywhere near your box, you basically can't touch them, which is not how real football works. Any kind of touch, any kind of jockeying, you're going to give away a penalty. You just know because the computer's a computer and you're a man, and it's always going to be able to jink and go around you, and by the time you've reacted to it, you put your foot out and the guy's flat on his arse or flat on his face and you've given away a penalty. So again, I still think that there's a problem there. Another thing they've introduced this year is the first touch system. So now there is a randomizer effectively on your first touch. So your guy could take it under his control normally, or he can bobble it and it can go anywhere. Again, this doesn't seem to happen so much to the opposition players. Funnily enough, when you get really close to the opposition goal line, suddenly your player's ability to completely spoon it, or or running onto a ball to almost fall over, goes through the roof. And again, it just seems to me to be a difficulty modifier that they've included, that it isn't actually there so much for the game. Still have a problem of crossing and corners. You still invariably never win a ball off a corner or a cross. The computer will use crossing against you ad infinitum. It very rarely seems to go through the middle. It always seems to go out wide. And if it gets a half decent ball into the box, they will score. They will score. It's impossible to defend against. Even if you're literally almost throwing the guy over, he will somehow get above you and score. Again, take it out the other end of the pitch and try and do the same thing. Crosses are constantly being overhit. Even if you just tap and I'm playing on PS3, even if you tap the square button, the cross will fly off the other side of almost of the world. You'll end up in row Z, and you kind of think, this doesn't feel very balanced to me. This feels like there's something underlying this that's not quite right. So that's a problem. On the ball is great, beautiful. They still haven't fixed the passing problem. On occasion, your player will pick a completely random bloke to kick it to. You'll be standing, on the corner of the D, going towards sorry, not the D, but the penalty area, going towards it. There's a guy running that way. You pass, and your player punts it completely the other direction to some other bloke. And you think, what? Doesn't happen to the computer. The computer never makes those kind of mistakes. And I think that's the thing. You feel like you're playing against this other opposition who knows the system, knows the moves, knows everything absolutely perfectly, and you as a human being are never going to be able to react quite quickly enough. Now, yeah, I'm playing on world class, but I've always played on world class. And I'm having a fairly good run. I just beat Tranmere Rovers 3-0. There were some great goals. But again, it does feel like there's a gaming of the system. Some games, it just seems to go really well for you. Other games, your forwards only ever hit it at the goalkeeper, and they can't score to save their life. So it does feel like, again, there's an element of randomisation being introduced. And FIFA, EA has said, well, this is to replicate what happens in a match. Yeah, but but you're not a football player on a pitch having a bad day. You're a player. And the thing is that you may have a bad day. The opposition, the computer AI, never has a bad day. So again, you just feel like you're being punished. And a reviewer last year reviewing FIFA 13 said, and I thought it was a good way of putting it. He said, I like a challenge, but I don't like the feeling that I'm being put on a rack for 20 minutes and stretched out and punished. And FIFA 13 still has that feeling of, this is less of a football game, it's more like a game of chess. You are looking for opportunities to score, but aware the whole time that the computer gets the ball, it's going to run straight through the middle of you. And every so often, and I'm sure if you've played FIFA you'll know this, you can just tell the computer's going to score. No matter what you do, it seems to continually hold the ball. A player will go on a mazy run, you'll try to tackle him, he'll brush you off. This is a player for Scunthorpe. We're not sorry, not Scunthorpe, I'm Scunthorpe, but this is a player for Tranmere Rovers, not Lionel Messi. He just suddenly turns into Sonic the Hedgehog and runs off with the ball, and you know he's going to score, and you know that you can't do anything about it. And there is a great degree of almost that kind of fatalism when playing FIFA. There are just moments the computer has artificially ramped up the difficulty for maybe 30-40 seconds. For this particular passing section, you ain't going to see it. Ping, ping, pong, and it's in the back of the net. And they were going on about removing ping-pong passes and making it less arcadey. I tell you what, the computer is quite capable, and does on occasion, of playing triangles round you and putting it in the back of the net. And it just feels like you're not playing on an even. It's not an even playing field against the computer. There are times it does feel extremely hard. Menu systems are still awful. The heuristic principle of 3 clicks clearly never made it to EA Canada. You have to, if you're on the pitch and you just want to transfer a player out, you have to press start, then you have to navigate to team management, then you have to go to squad. Why there's no quick menu, I don't know. I just don't know. What else do we not like? Yeah, when you start up the game, particularly if you're playing in career mode, if you're playing your first season, you've got to sit there for 10 minutes while we chug through 10-15 days of transfer season simulating, which is just a pain. I want to come in and play. I don't want to I don't know this team. I've just got hold of them. Why would I bother with a transfer window? When I've won some stuff, got some money, all the rest of it, then I'm probably going to be more interested. I do like the loan agreements. I like the fact that now you can actually bring players in on loan. I don't really remember that being a part of FIFA 12, but that's nice because obviously if you're a slightly poorer club but you want to approach a bigger club to get some of the better players, younger, like 21-year-old strikers on license, you can do that. That's great. We like that. But it's so simulating chugging away, and it's horrible, and you're sitting there thinking, this is a bit rubbish, to be perfectly blunt. So, the final thing we want to talk about is the impact engine. Again, there was a huge amount of stuff being told. We've been told, all those ridiculous fail videos that you've seen of people falling over each other. It's not going to happen. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And again, I've had at least 3 situations now where the keeper has come out, clattered my player, and there's been no penalty awarded. So again, it all kind of ties into this sense that you're not actually being well treated, that the game is deliberately stacked up against you. And yeah, yes, it is. It's a computer game. Of course it's stacked against you. But but it's not playing by its own rules. It's imposing a rule set on you in relation to what kind of body contact you can have, what kind of things you can do, and what you will or not get away with. But you get yellow cards for tapping at a guy's heels, and the computer wipes your player out in the box and nothing's given. And you just kind of think, this isn't fair. I'm being cheated. And when you get that sense in a game, and I definitely got it in FIFA 12, and to a lesser degree I'm getting it in FIFA 13 because your players are slightly better, but there are still moments of you think that is deliberately cheating to get the ball off me. Even if it's stuff like, your player will punt it to the opposition when he should be passing it to you, you'll just start getting the feeling of, this is unfair, it's deliberately cheating, I can't even if I try to win, I can't win. And when the computer gets the ball and is, down in the corner, I'm not going to touch him. I'm not going to get the ball off him. The best I can do is contain him. I know, look, he's put a cross in. I know, look, there's a goal. There are also undefendable goals. So, for example, there was a moment where ball came off a corner, computer player on the edge of the box volleyed it into the top corner. He's playing for Tranmere Rovers. I don't think Tranmere Rover players can do that, personally, to be perfectly blunt. No offence to Tranmere Rover, but I don't think that you've necessarily got the skill set to do that. But again, you're playing against an AI opposition which has access to all of those abilities and decides it's going to do that, and that's what's going to happen. And of course, it never, ever gets a pass wrong, and it never, ever hits the ball at the goalkeeper. It always, will pick one of the 2 corners, and as a player, you just can't do that. You don't have the finesse with a control pad to do that. So yeah, I'm not particularly impressed with FIFA 12. It is better than FIFA 13, but that's like saying a broken leg is... that's like saying like a broken finger is better than a broken leg. You'd probably rather have neither. I think that there is a huge amount of work that they need to do on the basic system on the pitch. All the work that seems to have gone in, and all of the stuff that we were being told about during the conferences, at Gamescom, etc., was all about, now you can play online, now you can do that, now you can do that. Which is just bells and whistles. I don't want bells and whistles. What I want is a game that actually works on the pitch, and here's the fundamental problem, a game that actually feels fun. And there are too many times when you're playing FIFA 13, like FIFA 12, it's lost its fun. And for a game, that's a huge problem. It feels like a simulation, but not one that you enjoy playing. One that it's almost like you go into every match just trying not to lose. And you kind of feel, I'm not sure that's really what you want, to be perfectly blunt. So I am going to say of FIFA, I'm giving it C plus B minus. I don't think it's anywhere near the 9s and 10s it's been getting. I do think that the reviewing community online need to actually hang their head in shame, to be perfectly blunt, because a lot of people are going to go out and buy this game and are going to be seriously disappointed with it, and are going to end up throwing their pads at the wall in frustration at it. A bit like Skyrim, actually. I don't think that should have got 9s from anybody, particularly on PS3. The game was fundamentally broken and it shouldn't have been released that way. We have to have a situation where reviewers are going to actually put the customer first, and I know that they have to maintain good relationships with the big companies and the big publishers, but if a game is going to fundamentally, disenfranchise a large number of people, because the increase in difficulty level between sort of amateur, semi-pro, or professional, and then world class is such a jump. Then you kind of have to ask yourself why. And I would make this final point. A lot of game reviewers gave FIFA 12 9s out of 10s, right? However, they then subsequently published a guide to the slider changes that you could make in the game to make it playable. Now, how on earth can you give a game 9 out of 10, and you know, an outstanding, and then publish a review, a guide saying, but because this game is basically as hard as a brick and no one can play it and everyone's getting frustrated by it, here's effectively a hack that you can employ in game to make the game more playable. I mean, to me, that suggests that the gameplay wasn't right, and they shouldn't have given it 9 out of 10. I wouldn't give this any more than a 7, and that's being kind. I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and if you really love FIFA, go and get FIFA. If you want a better football game, I'd probably say go and get PES. But let me know what you think. Let me know of what you found with FIFA, what you think of it. I'm going to upload. I've been saving some of the fail moments, including one great goal. I did score one fantastic goal, best goal I've ever scored. It was amazing, but a lot of sort of ridiculous body contact, a lot of players getting wiped out with nothing being given. All examples of the supposed, the much vaunted player impact engine just not being fit for purpose, to be perfectly blunt. So forward me those videos as well, because I love to see them. And it would be good if we could actually, if people can start saying to EA, this is not acceptable, you need to improve all this stuff, then hopefully we can end up with a better product. And, and we get the FIFA game that we all want, which is a game that, we loved so many years up until FIFA 11. I still think it's kind of lost its way. Anyway, have a great day, ladies and gents. Mostly gents, actually. I was looking at the analytics, apparently it's mostly gents. But if there is a lady out there, hi. I'll see you soon.